Hello, I'm Sean Hoddy and this is another edition of Lockdown Aikido. So just start exercising. Ichi, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ichi, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Hips. Sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ichi, sun, shi, rock, sit, touch. Stretch. Ichi, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ichi, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. To the side. Ich, ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Legs. Ich, ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Knees. Ich, ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Ni, sun, shi, ho, rock, sit, touch. Rotate. Waists. Ich, ni, sun, shi, rock, sit, touch. And the other way. Ni, sun, shi, go, rock, sit, touch. We've got those fingers, thumbs. Let's get some movement in those joints. Little shake. Shoulders. Forward. Backward. Forward. Backward. Rotate the arms. Mind the furniture, the lights and everything else in the house. From here, stretch. And down we go. And stretch again. And down. And one more stretch. And down we go. Okay, so right foot's in front of left, feet facing forward, push that heel down, come forward, support the weight. You should be stretching your calf muscles. And change. So you feel it pulling, good for your Achilles tendon. So we stretch. And hamstrings, so foot up. Legs straight. Go for the soles of the feet if you possibly can, or as far as you can go. And change. We go to the other side. And it stretches the hamstrings. Okay, shoulder stretch. So we just stretch. This is above the joint. So we stretch, then the hand goes down the centre of the back. Push on the elbow, so we're stretching the shoulders that way. Then we change hands, so we stretch down the centre of the back. And then we come to here. From here, nicely balanced, look down, itch to the middle, knee, look up, sun, shi, go, rock, sit, hutch, knee, sun, shi, go, rock, sit, hutch, good. Ich, ni, sun, shi, go, rock, sit, hutch. Okay, so we're going to start with ukemi. So Zempo Ho Ukemi. So when we perform this break fall, the hand blade comes in front of the big toe, so we're here in this position. Now if you're a relatively beginner at this and you've got a mat to practice on, just use both hands for support, or both hands going into position. So from here we're rolling, hit the mat, push ourselves up. once again. So from here, right foot comes forward, right hand goes forward, and we're rolling along the right arm, and it's like a rim of a wheel. We don't let the arm bend. So it's like a rim of a wheel. And we roll. So we need to have the arm this shape all the way through. So from here as we roll, try to do a small one, roll there. So left side, so same again, left side, and we come up. So we follow that line, the line of the break fall. We're doing it right-handed, it's up the right, coming up the right arm, going across, and we're coming up with the left leg. And the other side, exactly the same in reverse. Okay, so Yokoho Yukemi, side break falls. Now, if you're a beginner, very easy way to do these is just step across from here, drop your body weight to the mat. Then we change to the other side. I'm just going to plug my phone in. So going back to that break fall. So from here, come across, sit, hit the mat. Make sure when we hit the mat, we're not stretching right the way out. So we just here. Because if you stretch your arms out, your head, or your shoulder blades and the head get nearer the mat. And this is when the head can impact. If you're here, there's a great big gap. So once you get better at that, you can just throw the feet across and down we go. Koho Yukemi, rear break fall. So again, when we start from here, we just sit on our heels and fall backward, pointing the toes. In our dojo, cross the hands in front of the knees. The reason we do this is to ensure that the legs are straight, we're not flailing all over the place. And what this does as well, gets you into the habit of raising that head. You're reaching for those knees. It makes your head come off the ground. Now, as with a side break fall, we don't want to be stretching out because it pushes those shoulder blades nearer the mat and the head to get nearer the mat. So the position of the arms, here, this position here. Just look, if I do that, my head naturally gets, even if I force it, it naturally gets closer. So just some small little points that hopefully help you with your Yukemi practice or breakfall practice. Okay, so now we're going to do Unsuku. So when we start Unsuku, it starts with the left foot, left leg. So from here, nice and relaxed, neutral posture, and we move forward. Ich, Nip, Sump, Sheep, Go, Rock, Sitch, Hutch, Ich, Nip, Sump, Sheep, Go, Rock, Sitch, Hutch, Ich, Nip, Sump, Sheep, Go, Rook, Sitch, Hutch. So when we move, we need to ensure that our head's not bobbing around. It's a nice controlled posture, nice and upright, always working from the centre line. Okay, so now we can do Tandoku Undo. So again, it starts with the left hand comes up, Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, then we repeat, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rock, Sich, Hutch. So if you're new to Tomiki Aikido, practice Unsuku and Tandoku Undo reasonably slow. Ensure that you get the correct movement. So with Tandoku Undo, everything we do fits together, all coordinated with the hand and foot movement. So when the hand finishes, the foot finishes. It's all about getting the coordination correct. Okay, so another exercise we do in our dojo, virtually every adult session anyway, is the Buri practice. So from here, we've gone through how to hold the sword. So we're going to be cutting backward and forward to head height. So this is an exercise that is used in Kendo quite often. So from here it's getting nice and loose. It's Ich, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rook, Sich, Hutch, Ku, Ju, Ni, San, Shi, Go, Rook, Sich, Hutch, Ku, Ju. Yamo. So when we finish our cut, I'll finish the cut there. My hands are held in a position where I'm not overstretching. Always, whatever cut we do, the hands are held. Not like this, but wherever we cut to, in a controlled fashion. Because if you find you're overstretching, what happens, the bokken, or katana, if you're using a katana, is flicking. Where what we want is the cut at the end, and tighten up the grasp. So the cut, I can't cut here so I haven't got the ceiling height, but the cut is firm. Yeah, so at the end of the cut, it's nice and firm and controlled. You're controlling your sword. If you let this overextend, the sword's going to flop around and there's no control. So even if we're cutting low, it needs to be controlled all the time. Yeah, so if we're here, our elbows are in. So if we're doing that, you have your elbows cut off. You often see it in the movies, people doing that. You want these elbows in, nicely controlled, sword held as though you're holding eggs. So if someone's going to cut there, as I cut down, if you look at my hands, they're not doing this, they're not overstretched. They're controlled with the cut. Yeah, and that's how you want to be when you perform all your cuts. So next exercise, this is Mendo. We do this all the time. So initially men, head, cut into the head height, do, body. Now with this obviously, this soft do, it's a lot shorter than the bokken. So with the bokken, if I was cutting, I'll be aiming there. Then the back cut here. So but this is slightly shorter, so the cuts may not look like they're going to be head height for this. So, Ichi, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ich, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ich, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, ni, son, shi, go, ruk, sich, hach, yamai. So, angle of the cut, remember? Okay, so when I first started these lockdown Aikido sessions, there was a little bit of banter within my club, and they were saying, Sean, will you get right through to the Koryu? Well, I've covered the Randu no Kata, I've covered the Randu no Kata Urawaza counters. We're moving through the Dai-san, so we're up to the Jo or Yari section of the Dai-san. So I thought, as a change, at the start of the joke, people were saying, oh, we're going to move through, so I'm going to start with the Sawari-waza techniques of the Koryu Ichi. Now, within the Tomiki system, there are 6 Koryu no Katas, starting from Dai-ichi, going to Dai-roku. They are not practiced by all associations. I know at one time, even though I'm a member of the JAA and ITAF, they're not being practiced in Japan, or won't be practiced in Japan. So we're just going to go through the Sawari-waza section of the Dai-ichi. So Sawari-waza, kneeling techniques. So we're starting from here. Uki is there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move forward and do an atemi towards Uki's face. But it's not this sort of strike or this sort of atemi, it's a straight atemi. So as we atemi, moving forward, he blocks. So from here, he blocks. I come through. Now, if you look at my position, what I've done there is I've come through, I've caught the wrist and I've taken the elbow to here. I sit within this triangle. I sit in the middle of that triangle as I move. Because if I go too far forward, I'm going to fall over. If I try and do it on my heels, I can't move. So I don't want you driving down. This is a controlled technique. So osh. So from here, I come up, 1, we control there. And then from here, I move and I control the lock. So if we go from the other side, so this is he's coming down with his right arm attack. So from here, sorry, I'm attacking him and he blocks with his right arm. So as I attack, I start to move. So as soon as that block comes up, I take that elbow, sitting within that triangle, as I say, halfway within that triangle, so we're controlling him here. From here now, this arm starts to move, and we control there. And the control is, my weight comes forward. So my weight comes forward as I'm locking, yes? So from here, pushing, 1, 2, locking. My weight's forward, straight arms, control. So from here, I'm coming up with blocks. 1, 2, control. And what we're doing, if their head's there, we're stretching this arm up for the control. So key points is keeping your balance, keeping your centre line. So from here, as we move through, it's about controlling them hips, not rocking forward or leaning back too much. It's keeping that centre line. As I say, if you look here, centre of that triangle. Triangle's there, and I'm dead centre. Don't do that. Always come up onto your toes as well. So, as we move, I'm coming onto my toes so I can move. 1, 2. So if we think about this standing, if we're doing osteos standing, this sort of osteos, we would be controlling in a nice posture. Nearly going to be exactly the same. So next technique is tentai osteos. So this time they're attacking with their left hand to this temple. So from here, as they attack, I come up and I'm blocking. So I'm coming up, I'm blocking. So we go from a rotation to a linear action. So their arms here. I take their arm, come through, head is there, shoulder there. So I'm near in front of the shoulder. Now I'm applying the lock. So from here, as they attack, initial movement, I raise this knee up. So as they attack, I raise the knee up. Then I'm coming out in linear fashion. So I'm stretching them out here. At this point, I crook into the elbow. And I come through past their head. And then I apply the lock. Right, let's go from this one. So, from here as they attack, I step forward with my right leg. So from here I'm blocking, this comes up, taking the elbow, rotating this elbow. The elbow rotates, then from here I come down. This leg slides straight down. From here, pin, shoulders there, and we lock. And we show this nice movement with the lock, this nice. So this is the arm being held there, this arm comes round, and we show. And we show. We're on our toes, so we're locking away. So let's go from the rear so you can see. So from here, they're attacking with their left. So I come up with my right, come out to here. There, they've come out, arms there. So bring their arm up, crook of the elbow, shoulder blade there, then we lock. It's a nice, soft, pretty movement with this lock. And we're controlled centre of the triangle. We're not up like this, we're here. So it's nicely controlled. It's got to stretch out, starting to get old. Okay, next technique is called Takubi Osai. So Takubi Osai is a pin. In traditional Aikido, this would be Yonkyo, a Yonkyo type technique. So what we do with this technique, Uki is attacking straight down onto my head. So with this, I'm not trying to block. With this, I guide him down. So there's a lot of footwork with this movement. So from here, so I'm not trying to block and put a lock on, I'm here, up, moving round the arm. So if you can imagine, as this comes down, so I'm not trying to block, I'm here. There's the elbow, there's his arm, come through, pinning the lock on. The Kubyosai pin. So the footwork. As I say, we're not trying to block and then do the footwork, we're just guiding them down. It's soft. It's a very soft movement. So from here, as they attack, I basically move round them, then I control. So we try and get every angle going possible. So the attack's coming down. As I say, I'm not blocking, I'm just guiding it down. As I guide this down, I catch the arm, pushing. So I'm pushing with straight arms. So that breaks the balance. So the arm's going in the air. At that point, as I push, I then drive it down. My knee goes right near their elbow, right near their armpit. And to push the pressure on, we just lean forward. Might need to take half a step, but put the pressure on. So the pin, let's see if we can do it from front. So as we move, up in the air, drive down, lock in. The Kubyosai, or Yonkyo if you do traditional Aikido. But the key with this is keep the movement soft. If you start looking for this arm, then trying to move, you're going to struggle. Your base is an attack. You're moving round them. Okay, so next technique is two-handed grasp. So that is Katati Mochi, 2 hands. And the technique is a Sumitoshi. So as they take, they are going like this. So as they take this arm, or this hand, I drop to the mat. From here, drop this, and what that does, that pins their arm to the mat, so it disturbs their balance. So from here, I pin this to the mat, this one comes through, so it's doing that with this arm. And I'm moving towards their head with my open hand, so I'm pushing. So, from here, as I take, I push, and I stretch them out. So this arm is stretched, this is pushing on the chin. From here we're pinning them down. So it's very important as they take, this goes down. We're not trying to lift and pull, because you're not going to lift someone up very easily to take them down. So as soon as they touch, we start to move. Take that to the mat. Take that to the mat. From here, we're pinning. So from here, take this to the mat. This one's coming through. And we're getting this action where it's coming towards the chin, breaking their balance. throwing them, they're falling on their back. Head's there, pin, and pin this one on the mat as well, so we're controlling. Then from there, we continue with the next technique. It flows from that technique straight into the next technique. So the next technique is two-handed, because he's got two hands. That's Ryote Muchi. It's a Kokunagi. So you basically do these two techniques together as a continuous flow. So from here, lock, pin. He starts, we let the pin off, he starts to come up, so from here we raise, rotate, roll them away. So what's happening, we're here, pin, I'll let that come up, they start to stand up and they're starting to take me up. Different to the Daisan. In the Daisan we push up. With this one they're standing up and they're going to take my arms with them. So as they take my arms from here now, this one scoops inside of knee and we throw. Let's do it properly. So from here, here, whoa, we throw. So once again, it's difficult without the weight of an uke on your arms. So from here, turn, turn, pin. So we're pinning them, we let them off, they're coming up, circle, 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 and now we throw. So just to recap, we just quickly go through the actions. So first technique is an osteosh. So from here, 1, 2, pin, osteosh. Second technique is tentai osteosh. So we're turning, so as they're coming through with the left-handed cut to this temple, I move, come out, locking, scooping, and the nice lock at the end. Next technique, to kubiosai. So remember, we're not trying to grasp, we're just flowing into their moves, so they're coming down here. So basically I'm taisabaki out the way on my knees, here, drive through, locking. Ryote Muchi Sumiyotoshi. So from here as they take, lock, and then we go into Ryote Muchi Kokunagi. So we start to let it off, they come up, move, finish. Okay, so that was the Suwari-waza section of the Koryu Ichi. As I said, it's different without an uke. We're not getting the correct body weight, not feeling the technique correctly. So now we're going to look, we will go through our Daisan. So now we're going to look at the Jo section or Yari section, because in Tomiki Aikido we use this as a Yari. So a Yari is a weapon with a blade on the end. So it's a spear-like weapon, rather than in traditional Aikido using a Jo as a staff. So when we attack, we're here. Comes onto the hip and we tighten that grip there. So from here, just very basic attacks. There's various attacks. There's some where you can come into the air and go through. But just to keep this basic. So from here, this comes to this end. We move. And it's solid. because we want to be stabbing into the body. That's a solid, like wringing out a towel. Again, if it's weak here, there's nothing. There's not a broomstick. That's a solid attack. So, Uki is going to do that to me. Bladed end, as we said with the Kachi Dori in my last video, we block with the forearm, not hand blade, because this is travelling at a speed and it's powerful. If you've got a hand flopping around, it could get stabbed by the arm. So this technique, in the left posture, good Aikido posture. If you're standing all over the place, the jump is going to be hitting you before you've even moved. So ensure that we're in posture. The key to Aikido and all Budo is posture. So as this attacks, as this comes forward, I move slightly, and I'm blocking. Move slightly. From here now, this arm, which is not flapping around, or it's going to get stabbed, this arm slides up the jaw. So we slide up the jaw, we hit. Or throw, some people throw. So one, I'll have to hold this for a minute because obviously I want to keep it there. I'm sliding up, so I slide up, my feet do this. From here now, I strike. Now, the bladed end is here. So what I do now, I turn and I cover with the bladed end, because it's a yari. So as I attack, I'll make a little bit of a movement because that thrust is coming through, but solid block. Strike, or if you prefer, some schools will be moving and do it as a throw. So very importantly, when you grasp this Joe with your left hand, you can't grasp it here because it's not going to balance. It's got to be near the middle to remove. Near the middle, the atemi, if you're going to do it that way. Make sure the atemi is extended. Nothing worse than seeing this sort of stuff. You're going to atemi, extend. And this arm will extend as well. So we're here, nicely balanced. And then from here, bladed end, and we finish. I'll do that again, so stuck to the mat. So one, to the centre. As we move to the centre, we move into this posture here, this cross posture. This hand's coming into play, that's a urakan. Straight onto them, hit, rotate, bladed end, pointing at them. So from this side, as the Joe comes in, I move, step, strike. Both arms extend. Always extend the arms, as with all Aikido, this is shamati, we extend the arms. We're not all hunched up. So from here, 1, 2, so this is sliding up the Joe, extend, blade, that end, take the blade to cover. So, you have to imagine this, got 1, so I'm blocking, obviously I've got to hold this, I wouldn't be holding it in the technique, it doesn't levitate by itself. So from here, I've blocked, this one slides to the middle, I'm coming through here. So it's gone to the middle. At this point, when I strike, I extend both arms. So this strikes, breaks them away. Point down the other end of the weapon. From there, we control. Okay, so next technique, they're coming in, exactly the same attack. So they're here. This time I'm doing a left-handed shomanati. So as Joe comes in, I move, again, strong block, there. Now for a left-handed shomanati, for me, I haven't got long legs. So what I have to do to make sure I fit into them, because you've got the weapon, they're at the end of this weapon, so they're not too close to you. So what I tend to do, I slide up, and it's all one action, so I slide, then I push. So we're here, left comes through to get me going. Right comes through into left. So move. Right leg moves to help me drive forward. So from here, one, and this is exactly the same as normal shomanati. So I need to close that gap. Now if we practice shomanati in Rando no Kata, back foot's close to the front to get the driving action. With this technique, obviously I've moved slightly back, so this leg has travelled backward. So I need to close that gap now for the throw. I haven't got long enough legs to just go through, so what I do is I drive and I take, and we push. So once again, that's coming through. Obviously I've got to hold that, so that's coming through. This leg drives, I'm pushing. And we're throwing. Shomanati. Bladed end. So once again, we finish with the bladed end, pointing at them. And if you think what they're doing, it's a left-handed shomanati because I'm leading with my left, so if they're going to throw me with shomanati, they're taking me this way. So we need to get round and through. So if you think they're there, moving, coming up, pushing. Finishing nice posture. From here, centre, cover. So we do one more, it's a Mayatoshi. And again, there's various ways of doing this. So once again, they're attacking here, so that's a straight attack. So as they attack, this time I'm in right posture. From here, I move. This hand comes up to Joe. This hand comes between so if they're holding there, this hand comes between there, and I just rotate in front of the Mayatoshi. So you need to imagine this is the position I'm throwing from. So my blocked, my right arm comes between their two hands. I'm not trying to lift because if someone is strong, it's very hard to lift this. Because if they're cutting or attacking correctly, it's strong. You're not going to lift and throw them away. So what this is as I'm coming through, I'm rotating with the elbow and throwing. They roll off with a Mayatoshi because what's happening, their elbow's doing that. Because they are straight, their elbow's doing that sort of action. So the Mayatoshi's going there on the elbow. This is stretching here, and they're coming off doing a rolling break form. So from here, rolling break form. So if we look, one, this slides up, this now is going between, at the same time as it all comes together, goes between the two hands. So I've made the space, roll away. I'm dropping my posture, keeping my back straight, making my knees bend. And the drive comes from the back foot, as in all Aikido. Roll them away. And we finish. Pointy end, this end. And we just stay there and control. So remember, when we're doing these techniques, the bladed end is the end that we threaten with at the end of the technique. You know, this would be threatening the other end. As a stick, you've got a blade, it's far more effective. So just to recap those techniques. First one, right posture. They're attacking with the Joe here. As they attack from here, I'm moving. Forearm. Rocking that forearm, not just a hand blade. Forearm. This hand now comes into play. We strike. Stretching this out. Pointy end that end. Cover. Next one, we change our posture. So this is left-handed shomanati. So from here, as they attack, I'm moving, driving through, pushing, shomanati. So this is the chin. So exactly the same as when we do shomanati. From here, one. So this is sliding through now. As I slide through, foot comes forward, and we're stretching. Stretching that Joe away, pushing on the chin with this hand. They fall over, pointy end this end, so they come up and control with the spear, with the blade. Third one in the set, Mayatoshi. So again, this time I'm in right posture, right block. So from here, as they attack, I move slightly. Don't move too far out, because if you move too far out, it's a bladed weapon. So if you move too far out, they're just going to turn and cut you. So if you do this, it's just an avoidance. You're covering. So you're actually covering that weapon, making sure you're not going to get cut. Because if you come out to here, blade comes across. And if we finally get to the Koryu Dairoku, you'll see where this comes into play within the Joe section of the Dairoku. Hopefully we're out of lockdown by the time I get to Koryu Dairoku. But here, yeah, so here, cover, strike. Here, come through, roll away. This one, even though we're moving out because this is thrusting forward, we don't want to be moving out, as I say, so this blade will cut me. It wants to be about there. Coming through, rolling. That's a Maitoshi. As I say, as this comes through, that we move, but it's a good strong posture, not too far away. We're putting pressure on that jaw. This comes through, roll away. Okay, thank you for watching Lockdown Aikido. My name's Sean Hoddy. Thank you.